Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. This is Dr. Muralikrishnan from Los Angeles. How is everyone doing? Today we have a phenomenal broadcast with five beautiful, intelligent, talented women to celebrate the International History Month, Women's History Month. Anytime women come together with a collective intention, it's such a powerful thing, whether it's sitting down, making some handicraft items, cooking food in the kitchen, or preparing a meal, and hanging out with their peers on a girls' day out, a girls' night out, or reading the same book, or get together around the table, talking, chit-chatting, and laughing as a group of friends, or even planning a simple birthday party. You know, when women come together with a collective intention, magic happens there. Do we know that the women who break down their barriers, or those who create better world for themselves, not only for themselves but also for the humanity? Eleanor Roosevelt once said that well-behaved women rarely make history, and even though it's partially true, we are all making history. However, I just wanted to bring one of our great patriotic poet from our own country in India. ஏட்டையும் பெண்கள் தொடுவது தீமை என்றெண்ணி இருந்தவர் மாய்ந்து விட்டார், வீட்டுக்குள்ளே பெண்ணை பூட்டி வைப்போம் என்ற விந்தை மனிதர் தலை குனிந்தார். பட்டங்கள் ஆள்வதும் சட்டங்கள் செய்வதும் பாரினில் பெண்கள் நடத்த வந்தோம், எட்டும் அறிவினில் ஆணுக்கிங்கே பெண் இளைப்பிள்ளை காணென்று கும்மியடி. This was actually, at that time, it was his dream. It was literally, he was dreaming about it. In those days, in late 40s and 50s, women were just used as, just women to take care of the family, to take care of the babies, the kids, cook for the husbands. And so that barrier, he wanted to break it. And today we see amazing women doing amazing stuff, and in every single industry, being queens of the industries. In Bharatiyar's dream, he dreamt the future to be written in 1940s and 50s is true today. A girl sent to school to get educated was prohibited that time. They were kept indoors to get trained to take care of the male-dominated household. That's how the life was in 40s and 50s, not only in India, in many cultures. But today, the women, the ladies, the girls are dominating the world and being the president, being the prime ministers of the world in every single industry. And this is amazing to see. Every single girl is powerful in this world, and that is what we wanted to see in this entire universe. For every girl and woman, I wanted to reinstate that the biggest adventure you can ever take is to live the life of your dreams, whatever that dream can be, but live the dream for yourself. Don't be intimidated by what you know, what you do not know, or what a man says that you have to do. That can be your greatest strength, and ensure that you do things differently from everyone else to achieve your dreams. There is a strong belief or a myth by people believing that men are by nature merely indifferent to one another, but women are by nature enemies. This is what people sometimes believe. They created that feeling in women, so we live the life what they expected us to live. Are we enemies to each other? No. Dear ladies and young girls, trust me, we are not enemies to each other. If a woman achieves something in their life, please appreciate it. If a girl makes it to come to the greatest heights of her dreams, please do appreciate it. If a lady dresses up well and tucked herself up with a beautiful makeup, jewelry, and gorgeous silk attire, do appreciate it. Instead of feeling jealous, try to appreciate it so that we can disprove to the world the statement that women are enemies to each other. Women are expected to live the life a man creates for her in every society in the past. How wrong it is for a woman to expect a man to build the world she wants to live in rather than to create one by herself. Love this day to celebrate Women's History Month with all of you. I have 5 phenomenal women with me to celebrate along. Women's History Month began as a local celebration in Santa Rosa, California, which was the state I live in. California, I'm in the Southern California, but it was created in the Northern California. Very proud and happy to find out that this legacy celebration was originally initiated in my own state where I live in currently. The Education Task Force of the Sonoma County Commission of the Status of Women planned and executed a Women's History Week celebration in 1978. I'm just giving a small history so we all know that why we do this. But why is Women's History Month in March? You know, by the 1970s, American feminist group extended the now mainstream International Women's Day to Women's History Week, an effort to amplify women's history in schools. In 1975, the United Nations moved to formally sponsor an annual celebration of International Women's Day on March 8th. The force behind the movement made itself irresistible, and as more and more groups began celebrating the full week as well as lobbying for it to be nationally recognized, the 39th President of the United States, President Jimmy Carter, designated the first National Women's History Week, the week including March 8th in 1980. Women's history observation snowballed from there. By I think 1986, 14 of the states in the United States recognized March as Women's History Month, and the next year the U.S. Congress established Women's History Month as an annual federally recognized observance. Thereafter, each U.S. president since 1995, I think, had issued a yearly proclamation honoring the role of American women in history. It's actually created to a chance to recognize women's varied and often under-recognized accomplishments of women throughout the history. It is celebrated with the television specials, political speeches, and classroom learning, and many women initiatives over social media posts intend to honor the special women in everyone's life, and also like what we do here today, the authoritative leaders of the society or community to bring high achieving women such as these 5 incredible women today in a live broadcast and discussions with their hard-earned achievements to share their experiences with our next generation to show how they can learn from it. In today's episode, we are meeting 5 amazing, beautiful, successful, incredible women who had contributed their outstanding artistic talents and abilities in the field of their respective arts. And I just wanted to mention their name first, and I wanted to bring them a little later. I have Dr. Radha Bhaskar, Dr. Guruvayur Usha Durai, actress Jaishree, singer Deepika Varadarajan, and dancer Ramya Harishankar. Without much ado, let's start the celebration of Women's History Month now. First, I'm going to welcome Dr. Radha Bhaskar on stage. So before I start welcoming her, I have a few things to say about her, her achievements and who she is, what she does. Of course, in southern India, she is such a famous a musician and musicologist. Every music industry people know her. But since we are doing it from the United States, I just wanted to make sure to give a little brief about Dr. Radha. Dr. Radha is a unique combination of a vocal musician, musicologist, teacher, journalist, music educator, and cultural organizer. She is a disciple of Padma Bhushan Sri P.S. Narayan Swami, the well-known virtuoso, and has performed many concerts all over the world and abroad. In recognition of her human service to music, she has received several titles like Kala Seva Bharati, Yuva Kala Bharati, Kala Samrakshini, Kala Seva Vipanshi, Sangeeta Lakshana Pravina, Sangeeta Kala Sevak, Sangeeta Kala Bharati, you name it. She received almost every awards for her achievements, Acharya Award, Sparkling Diamond Award, etc. She received the Outstanding Musicology Award from Naradagana Sabha and a Musical Excellence Award by Shivan Arts Academy, and a Women of Excellence Award from Women Economic Forum. Dr. Radha will be conferred the Seva Ratna Award from our own Cleveland Aradhana from the US in 2023. I think it's next month, for her outstanding contributions to the music. She had a rare privilege of conducting a spectacular group singing program by 5,000 school children in the presence of our former president, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. She also coordinated the Granathon program where 10,000 school and college children participated in a mass singing. Dr. Radha holds a doctorate degree in music for her thesis titling Carnatic Music Concerts and Analytical Study. You know, getting a doctorate and working hard is like, it's not a simple step. You know, I personally know what every single friends of ours go through that to receive the doctorate. And only high achieving and intelligent musicians can achieve that. And I'm very, very proud of her achievements in receiving this doctorate in her study. And she has given many educational lecture demonstrations and also participated in several prestigious panel discussions all over India. She is the recipient of the Junior and Senior Fellowship from the Ministry of Culture, Government of India. Radha is a treasurer of the unique 28-year-old cultural organization Mudra. And you go to India, most of the musicians and musicologists will know what Mudra is. Mudra does free webcast of all their programs in a global audience through their Palam TV and also Palam Radio, which is a 24-hour free channel dedicated exclusively to Carnatic music. Dr. Radha has been the editor of the arts magazine Samudra for the past, I think, 17 years. Earlier, she worked as a music critic in the New Indian Express. That's one of the very difficult tasks which I am scared of. And you can be the best singer on earth and the critics come and say that, what do you know? And I'm so scared of critics, and I am so happy and glad to know that she worked. I mean, that's the new news I just found out. Dr. Radha has been sharing her music knowledge by conducting music appreciation programs. One of a kind online series, CM365, was completed very recently. I was watching on and off with my limited time, and it was one of the phenomenal programs that she came up with. It's by her, where she presented a video bite every day on various topics of Carnatic music continuously for 365 days of the year. Let's welcome Radha on stage now. Hello, Dr. Radha Bhaskar. Namaskaram. How are you, ma?
Namaskaram. Nice meeting you.
It's wonderful to see you. Let me just put my okay, now I can hear you better. Radha, can you speak a little bit more? How are you?
Yeah, I'm feeling
beautiful,
fine and
beautiful.
Great.
Wonderful to see you, and it is amazing. And thank you, first of all, for accepting to be part of this live. And a lot of not only current generation students and youngsters, but also the previous generation and the next generation is going to really get lots of ideas of what this women History Month is all about, and why we are celebrating those successful women. As I said, ஏட்டையும் பெண்கள் தொடுவது தீமை என்றெண்ணி இருந்தவர் மாய்ந்து விட்டார். படிப்பு, like a சாதாரண basic education was denied for women in India. And when the girls and ladies come up with this kind of with the great achievements, it's something to be celebrated, and for every single one to watch it and learn from it. And so nobody should be backward on that matter. So I'm really glad that you were able to come today and speak to us, and thank you so much again. So I want you to give a few words about yourself, what you wanted to speak today, and then I will also bring the other women on stage so that we can have a beautiful panel discussion, question and answer. Not only the questions I curated, but also from the audience. They are probably waiting to hear you all, what you have to say and everything. So just introduce yourself, Radha, and we are looking forward.
First of all, let me congratulate you on your incredible service you've been doing. And I've been watching all your the developments and programs and other things, of course, at your school. Today, of course, you have made us all feel very special, I would say.
Of course, you are all very
having
special.
This beautiful session online. And you have chosen a very kind of women achievers, so people who have achieved something in different walks of life. I suppose that will make it very interesting for us today. The discussion is going to be very interesting. All I have to say is that only thing, of course, always I say that as women, first we are having something called a family. So that is very, very important. So however far you go in your life, I would say that striking a balance between the two is very, very important to make life very, very holistic. Probably that is going to be the concluding remark also of our discussion. But nevertheless, I'm very, very happy to be here today. And I think we're going to have a very great session interacting with all the wonderful women achievers we have chosen for today.
Beautiful. Let's welcome Radha, Dr. Radha Bhaskar. Awesome. So in the meantime, I'm going to be bringing our next guest also on stage. It's also who is a doctor who received honorary doctorate, and this is Dr. Guruvayur Usha Durai. Dr. Guruvayur Usha Durai is no stranger to the world of classical music and classical dance, as she was a daughter of the Mridangam Maestro, Sangeeta Nataka Academy awardee, Sangeeta Kala Shikamani, and Sangeeta Natak Academy Tagore Ratna awardee, Kalaimamani Sri Guruvayur Durai. And it is really amazing that she was able to also be with us today. In the meantime, I just wanted to bring Dr. Guruvayur Usha Durai. But before I bring her in, I just wanted to give us, a few lines about her and her achievements to you all. So she lives in Malaysia. So since we are doing this live from the US, for those who do not know, I wanted to give a little brief introduction about Dr. Guruvayur Usha Durai. And she goes by Madhura Natya Mamani Nritya Acharya Kalai Thai Dr. Guruvayur Usha Durai. I really can't believe, like she comes from such a great family, and somehow she decided to go back and settle down in Malaysia and doing such a great work, being in the other country also. She is also Tamilisai Maestro Guruvayur Ponnammal is her aunt, if you do not know. Dr. Guruvayur Usha Durai is a founder and a principal of Lasya Arts Academy, and has received an honorary doctorate award and title from the Hindustan Art of Music Society in recognition for outstanding contributions to Indian classical dance she did. After her dance debut under the tutelage of Srimati Indra Rajan and Sri Pandanallur Srinivasa Pillai in 1983, I think, she actively pursuing her career as a dancer, singer, teacher, choreographer, mridangam player, tabla player, and a veena player till the date, which made her an exceptionally rare breed of artist. She holds the title of Nritya Acharya, Kalaitai, Queen of Nattuvangam, Kapya Natya Nayaki, and Nattuva Perarasi, and most famous award from Karnataka, Aryabhatta Award for the field of Nattuvangam she received. And let's welcome Dr. Usha on stage now. Hello, Dr. Guruvayur Usha Durai ma'am. How are you? Namaskaram.
I'm fine, ma'am.
I'm very, I think your mic is a little bit far away. If you can come a little closer to your mic, that'll be great, ma'am.
Is it okay now?
That's a lot better. Yeah, that's very nice. So, Usha ma'am, so tell us, talk to us a little bit about, how you feel about this day today.
It's so great because one is I've been taken here this today by you, and I also have been following you for quite some time, and it's a great privilege for me to be here. And it's being a woman, it's such a great thing that we are able to achieve so many things, and along with others, we're being appreciated too. So it feels so great to be here today.
I kind of hear, but still there is a little bit of feedback I'm hearing. If you can come a little closer, that'll be really amazing.
How about now?
Oh, that's a lot better. Thank you.
Okay.
So tell ma'am, how do you feel living in Malaysia for almost 35 years, doing this service to the community? How do you feel about it?
Thank you. I first came to Singapore. I was working there for 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
And there was an organization Temple of Finance. They only brought me here to this part of the world. Then I continued work in Kuala Lumpur. There is a lot. Initially, I felt very setback and living very far away from the field I was thinking. But as years went on, I think I learned a lot. I learned a lot more exposure and mind setting freedom and all that is to get in the other part of the world.
Awesome.
So that gave me a lot of free space to explore myself a lot. And as I started doing research in our great works like curriculum and the Kapiam and all that, so I felt so proud being what I belong to and what I need to carry forward. So in that sense, it was a great plus living in Malaysia. And
Awesome.
yeah, that language also gave so much of help here. So a lot of people to come here.
Very, very happy to know that. And I really am very proud and honored to bring you in today. And I'm going to introduce the other few artists, and then we will start our discussion very soon, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining us today. And next I have an amazing singer and who is beautiful and well versed in both Carnatic, Hindustani, also in film singing. Deepika Varadarajan, and I'm going to be bringing Deepika Varadarajan on stage, but before I would like to say a few words about her and her achievements. Deepika's debut performance was at the very young age of 3 years old for the 64th birth anniversary celebration of Dr. M.L. Vasantakumari, who is my grand guru. Even though I studied with so many other teachers, finally I really wanted to get my music education, advanced music education from her. So somehow I found a job in Rishi Valley because she was working there at that time. So I could stay there and study under her guidance. So I was able to do it for 2 years. And then I had to get married and come here. So it's very fortunate. I didn't know about that your first debut concert at the age of 3 was for my great guru, who, and she really is an amazing singer. Deepika is a disciple of also Padma Bhushan awardee Sudha Raghunathan, who is a great friend of mine, and Pandit Prasad Kaprade. Deepika has performed, far and wide, including prestigious festivals like in Madras Music Academy, Chennai, and Sankat Mochin Sangeet Samroh and Varanasi, and Cleveland, Tyagaraja Aradhana in Cleveland, and Saratheet Ritvik Foundation in Pune, and Chandorkar Pratishthan. Am I saying all right? I'm hoping I wrote it down in English. And Shanmugananda Sabai in Mumbai, etc. These are all some just few names, just I can mention. But she had performed in so many other places. Deepika has sung also movie songs in 6 different languages for leading music directors like Maestro Ilayaraja, Isaipuyal A.R. Rahman, and the great M.S. Vishwanathan, Deva sir, and Vidyasagar sir, and Shankar Mahadevan, the recent Oscar awardee, M.M. Kiravani, Sri Koti, Devi, Sri Prasad, Anu Malik, you name, and Jakes Bijoy, Shilpi, S.A. Rajkumar, you almost name every single recent music directors. She sang in their music, and this is really amazing that she was able to take her time off to come and spend some time with us to share her expertise with us. Deepika's songs can be heard in super hit movies such as Bahubali, Middle Class Abayi, Chavu, Kaburu, Chalaga, CSK, Kalluri, Ayirathil Iruvar, Poyyamuri. I'm not a big movie watcher, so I'm kind of stuttering with those names. And then Kadalika, Maryadai, Talam, Dilse, Anantapuram, and these are all a few of the names. I just wanted to, bring it to you so that you can go and listen to it and, hear her amazing singing. She has also acted in a role and sung in a popular teleserial. It's Kaiyalavu Manase, I think, and it's Hindi remake, Choti Si Asha, directed by K. Balachandar sir, as an ace Indian film. He's a great film director, we all know. Deepika holds a bachelor's degree in engineering information technology and has also completed her undergraduation in Sanskrit. That's really amazing. And she is featured in, she is a featured All India Radio A-grade artist, and she has been conferred with titles like Yuva Kala Bharati by Bharat Kalachari, Sai Chuder by Kartik Fine Arts, etc. What next time when you happen to go to the legendary singer Shankar Mahadevan, if he happens to be in your city, do not miss it. Why I'm saying, because she will be also one of the main performers in all his special concerts. So let's welcome Deepika on stage. Hi Deepika.
Hello, namaskaram.
Wonderful to see
Wonderful
you
to see you
again.
again.
Thank you so much for such a lovely introduction, and it's always special to be on your show. You just never stop inspiring us with your ever enthusiastic presence. It's really really inspiring.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Deepika,
For some reason, I'm hearing my own voice.
Are you?
Is
Is it okay now?
let
Or I
me
can
see.
get
let
my
me see.
AirPods if you feel that might be better.
We can,
when we go on the
Yeah.
live,
we can do that. I mean,
when we all
when we all talk together.
Because,
I'm hearing my own voice.
I'm hoping it should be better now. I've brought down the volume.
but it's still there, but
we'll see.
So
Sure.
tell us
Tell us
a little bit about what you feel about today's Women's
Very
History
very
Month.
happy to be here on your show. And many congratulations to all the wonderful women achievers that are there on the show today. Looking forward to interacting with all of you here, and like I said, it feels very special to be here and interact with you. You've been doing some amazing stuff, and I think it's like you're there everywhere, sort of, into multiple things. So, which is very, very inspiring. Lots to learn from, this facet of yours. And thank you so much for inviting me to be here on the show.
Of course,
Of
with
course,
pleasure.
with
Thank you
pleasure.
so much.
Thank you so much.
In the
In
meantime,
the
I'm
meantime,
also going to bring the
bring
other
the other
artists,
artists,
so
and
we'll
so
take
we'll
a few
take
minutes for their introduction, Deepika. Thank you again for joining us today. So next I'm going to be bringing Ramya Harishankar. She is our own from Southern California. Ramya Harishankar is the artistic director of the Arpana Dance Company and School, a premier school of Bharatanatyam in California. In 2022, she was named Distinguished Citizen by the city of Irvine. It's a famous city in Orange County, and added to the wall of recognition for her contribution to the cultural landscape. How amazing can that be? She also received a Lifetime Achievement Award from LA-based Surya Foundation. During the pandemic, she shared online sessions on intricacies of, Abhinaya, interpretive dance, and with the teachers and keen students of dance, both nationally and internationally. She also premiered a digital series, Dance Conversation, retrospective of Indian dance in Southern California, documenting her 4-decade journey in the diaspora through the lens and voice of her mentors, colleagues, and collaborators. Her short dance films, Bhumika on climate change, and Asha, Until We Meet Again, a tribute to 9/11, have been featured in several dance festivals. She is a recipient of a Kala Seva Bharati Award by Bharat Kalachar. In 2007, her Arpana Dance Company was recognized citations and awards, including Helen Majeska Cultural Legacy Award. I think I said that word right. If not, when she comes back, I'll have her correct me. And Arpana Dance School has performed in the US, Europe, India, and Japan, received several grants and awards. She is a recipient for 2 times of National Endowment of the Arts, a choreographic fellowship in 1994 to 97, and a founding board member of Ekta Center Irvine. It's an organization that represents the Asian Indian diaspora. Her dancing career, spanning more than 3 decades, had taken her all over the world, performing extensively in India, Asia, Europe, Australia, and in North America. And without much ado, I'm going to welcome Ramya Harishankar on stage. Hi Ramya, namaskaram.
Hi, namaskaram. And I think there's a little bit of delay. I don't know why. But thank you so much for inviting me. And maybe I should take Is that better now? I don't know. There's like a
I
little.
hear you very, little delay from your side.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a tech person. But anyway, so hopefully we'll get it fixed. Thank you so much for inviting me to be part of this group of amazing women, which includes you. And I don't know how you navigate all these different roads, journeys, but amazing to be part of artists, always, right? And to see everyone tackle their journeys and make such important contributions to the world. I've been talking about particularly where we live, when art is not embedded into the ethos of the community, unlike Chennai, where we come from, we take it for granted. So it is so important to have arts as a part of the ethos of this. And so what you're doing is important, and what each of them is doing is very, very important. So thank you, and it's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. It's a beautiful, intro that you spoke. Very, very nice. So I still have one more artist, and I don't see her on the backstage. She tried to call me, but what I'm going to do, we are going to be starting our, because some of the artists have some other engagements happening right after this. So we will start our discussion channels, question and answers, and move forward. In the meantime, I will see where she is and bring her in. So all of you are going to be on stage right now. How beautiful to see all of you in one single. I think somebody's, do you hear me clearly? So what's going to happen is whenever the question is asked, whoever is answering can turn on the mute button. The rest of us will turn off, so that way any outside noise can be, stopped. I think one of the guest's microphone is a little bit noisy, or the outside noise is there, and I hear a large hiss sound, but we will manage it. It's always interesting when we have like more than a few people on the panel. So my first question is going to be for Radha ma'am. Let me, I curated some nice questions, so let me just go and have that handy so that I don't mess that up. Give me a few seconds. How awesome to have, such great people in the same screen, isn't it amazing? Okay, here it is. Dr. Radha Bhaskar, you are a unique combination of a vocal musician, musicologist, teacher, journalist, music educator, and cultural organizer. And I just wanted to, first of all, basically, I think you went to Madras University for Masters and PhD, right? I come from this. I think you're a lot younger to me. I passed out. So
true.
she is, now I'm finding out that she is my junior. And
Very much junior.
This is beautiful to know. So most of the musicians and musicologists, Madras University had created amazing set of musicians and musicologists. As soon as I knew that you are a musicologist, I kind of felt that you are also from the same place, since you were from Chennai. My first question to you is, tell us a little bit about your thesis work.
Well, my thesis work, when I started itself, my main focus was that it should be a practical subject, because I was a practicing musician, so I thought something which will help my musical career would be of greater, better choice. So that's why I took up the topic of Carnatic music concerts and analytical study. So that was all about the form and content that was prevalent in contemporary concerts and analysis of that. First thing,
Beautiful.
because already a lot has been done on the history, I eliminated that totally from my subject because again starting from the Rig Veda, Sama Veda, enough has been done. So I
Of
thought I
course.
will not go into that. So mine was like a case study. Actually, it was very interesting that I took about 650 live concerts as a case study for my work.
Wow.
So it was a very interesting thing that every day my guide, Dr. N. Ramanathan, would, you know him
Oh,
very well, what
good.
a tough taskmaster he is.
Wow, he
So
is a
the first two,
fantastic musicologist.
yeah, I'm blessed to be under his guidance, of course, that is there. But very tough taskmaster in the sense that first 2 years he just made me listen to live concerts every day. So like,
Right.
I used to come back from college and every day I'll go and listen to some concert. It may be that of a senior musician, a youngster, X, Y, Z, anybody. So
Right.
after gathering all that material, my topic I took up was the complete analysis of what is the form and content in the area of Kalpita Sangeeta, area of Manodharma Sangeeta. So
Yes.
it was more a very practical study, I suppose, so to be very useful to even practicing these things. That is the whole idea of that thesis.
Awesome.
That's
Beautiful.
it.
Beautiful. How neat. And in the meantime, I'm also seeing Jaishree, so I'm going to bring her also on stage. So, just give me a few
I think
seconds.
Ramya's voice is echoing again and again.
Okay. I think so somebody is. Ramya, if you can put yourself on mute, ma. So what we can yeah, beautiful. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we can do is whenever we speak, we unmute ourselves and then speak, and we put back into the mute. So that way it will not go back and forth on. What will happen is my own voice. That's the reason I'm having, even though this looks a little ugly. I just had it so that my voice won't put through the speakers. So we'll do this way. We can still manage it. So I'm going to be bringing Jaishree. She just came, and so let me just give a little brief about Jaishree, and then I can bring her in. Just give me a few seconds before I can bring Jaishree in. Hi Jaishree, namaskaram ma. Jaishree, do you hear me? Hi Jaishree, namaskaram ma. Oh, there is a delay. I heard.
Hi, can you hear me? Namaskaram
Yes,
to you.
yes. I
Hi,
think
can
there
you
is
hear me?
a delay in hers. Jaishree, if you have your phone or something turned on, other than where you're going live, you have to turn it off. I think there are 2 or 3 lives turned on.
Is it okay now?
Perfect. Awesome. Yes. So when you have more than one gadget, if you turned it on, that kind of echoes like that. Jaishree, can you speak just for a few seconds? Just say hello to me.
Could you
Just
hear me
speak.
now? Can you
Perfect.
hear me now?
Awesome. Yes, now I can hear you very clearly. All right. For those who do not know who will not know Jaishree? For those who do not know who Jaishree is, I'm going to just give a little brief about her. Jaishree started her cinematic career in 1985 with a Tamil film, Tendrale Ennai Thodu. I watched that movie. I could say I'm not a movie watcher, but in the 80s I sneaked out from my parents and then I watched that movie, so I knew about it. And she was starring with other male actor Mohan. After getting married in 1988, that is the same year I got married too, and she left the film industry to focus on her new family. She later began career in technology. Again, she returned to acting in 2010, I think, with the film Kadal to Kalyanam. Though it was never released, but she still went back and acted on it. On Christmas Day 2016, Jaishree's comeback film was Manal Kairu 2, which was released internationally. Do we know a big secret about Jaishree, which I'm going to be, I came to know only today. And I found out only today. So, small kiss. She is the granddaughter of S. Jayalakshmi, singer and actress, who is a sister of the great musician and painter S. Rajam sir, and a great Veena exponent Veena Balachandar sir, and a musician and filmmaker S. Balachandar sir. I just came to know about it today. So that's a little kisu of mine about Jaishree, which I came to know today. She married Mr. Chandrasekhar, an amazing human being who is a banking professional in 1988 and settled in the United States in California. That's my state as well, but I live in the South. And settled in the United States of California, and the couple has two amazing sons. I met one of them, I think, a while ago. Jaishree acted in several Tamil and Malayalam movies, and I'm going to share few of her movies that she acted. Tendale Ennai Thodu, Ragabandhangal, Idu Engal Rajyam, Irandu Manam, Kalamellam Munmadiyil, Kovil Yanai, Manidhanin Marupakkam, Vidinja Kalyanam. See, in 80s, my parents won't send us to movies, so I only watch one movie of yours. Now I know all the movies listing, so I'm going to sit and watch every single one if it's available on YouTube. Nambinar Keduvadillai, Ananda Kannir, Pannir Nadigal, Maunam Kalegirathu, Yaro Ezhudhiya Kavithai, Thalidanam, Anand, Nalaya Manidhan, Varam, Pista, Vivasayi Magan, Manal Kaire, and also she acted in Malayalam movie Vendum and I think Masamaram. Did I say it right? Masamaram, right? Masmaram. Oh, okay, Masmaram. And she also lended her voice to some of the movies in Arahan for Geeta and in Pachai Muthucharam for Jyotika. And here is my warm welcome for That's beautiful to watch you all in one screen. So now we are going to be on work. So I have curated few questions. Some questions might be for more than one person. So those questions we can always have everyone answer. But some might be only for dancers, some might be only for singers, and some might be only for acting for Jaishree. So we will kind of, whoever wants, it's like a panel. I know a few of you wanted to leave early, but stay with me, please. So I'll try my best to, send you as soon as possible. So here is my next question let me take my questions page so that I don't. So I already, since you were a little bit behind, I asked the first question to Dr. Radha Bhaskar. My next question is for Dr. Guruvayur Usha Durai. Please tell us about your gurus and how was it living with a living legend in the same household? Your dad is a phenomenal, extraordinary musician, and especially growing up with a bigger personality like that, already, I am nothing at all. What I put through, my kids put through with me is too much. But a living legend being there in the household, how was life?
Oh, the life is very tough. Of course, a very tough taskmaster. Even my Atta want to teach me some songs also. Appa will interfere and say, no, teach you some varnams in it. And was getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, making us practice, disciplining, not only music, even to study. My father was the one who actually taught me how to study my subjects in the school. Like how to do markings and highlighting and reading, all this, map reading, all this Appa is doing his job. Many of them, I was actually amazed with Appa's knowledge because Appa has not done much schooling, but his knowledge of traveling and all that, I believe, is helping, and it really helpful for studies, and that was the same thing I guided my daughter to me. And being there was one thing I want to tell, when I was learning dance at the same time, I want to stop dancing. I told my father, Appa, it is so boring, and I am sleeping while dancing and imagine the audience. They'll be sleeping. So why not I just stop dancing? I said, no, If you've got a problem, then you have to find a solution. Please find what is the solution for this problem. Then I found that, that was my own felt about certain things. Speed. The speed which was required for that speed. Certain,
Ushaji, இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் கிட்டக்க வர முடியுமா? I think I still have hard time hearing here and there. இன்னும் கொஞ்சம், are you on the phone or on the computer?
I'm traveling. I didn't have the computer.
Huh?
I'm traveling, ma, so I don't have the computer.
Oh, yeah. You said you were traveling. That's true. Yeah. கொஞ்சம் கிட்டக்க வந்தேன்னா கொஞ்சம் நல்லா கேட்கறது.
இப்போ ஓகேயா?
Beautiful. அங்கேயே இருங்க. அப்படியே பேசுங்க.
Okay, so when I told her, Appa asked me to explore more, so I found that music, certain elements which was changed, and made me find the joy in dance. And of course, without fundamental musical master and Indra as a teacher, I'm nobody now. And the fundamental musical master was the main person to mold me how I am today. The intricacies of how to technically teach the dance and all these elements. And of course, my teacher was so famous in Nattuvangist, and I really loved it. And then only I joined dance. Not even dance was an element first. So my interest was so much into the Nattuvangist, and that is what actually attracted me. And Indra as a teacher, and fundamental was a master. And another very important person I studied in tennis is Sister Kumari Narendranath. She also was an element to make me for what I am today.
Awesome. Wonderful. How neat. I mean, it's a beautiful thing, that you could share with us. And also, since Jaishree came a little bit later, what we are going to do, Jaishree, since all of us are on the same screen, whenever when our turn comes, we turn on the mute. And when somebody else speaks, we'll put the mute on, so that what happens is it echoes from our own computer to the other person's mic. So whenever your turn comes, you just turn that on. Okay, so this question is for Jaishree. Of course, you have the same question. You were living with too many legends around you, and even though if not in the same household, probably when you have a family gathering or when you're growing up, all these bigger legends, when they all meet, how was it? Like, were you scared, or you were like, oh, that's my uncle, that's my aunt? And it's one of those things like how we all feel like our uncle and aunts. And do they throw their ideas on your growing up, on your artistic abilities and stuff like that? And how did you take that? Now you have to unmute yourself and then answer, Jaishree. Unmute yourself. You're still on mute. I see you still on mute. Awesome. Jaishree, you're still you kept yourself on mute. Come a little closer and speak. Speak.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes. Awesome.
Went back to...
No, you muted again. So once you unmute, don't touch anything. There you are.
No, it unmuting me.
No. So now you unmuted. Now you muted. So click on the mute button. So when it's not cross, you are ready to go. Now you are muted. Yeah, now you are unmuted. So leave it like that. Now you speak. Speak, Jaishree. Did you hear my question? Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me? Because I
Yes.
seem to...
I can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. So first of all, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm completely honored to be in the presence of these fascinating women, very esteemed company today. Um, you asked me a question about my family. Yes, my grandmother, she, one bit of news, she actually was um, in her time, 1932, she actually acted as Sita in Sita Kalyanam with her sister. And in the history, I think, of world cinema, my grandmother and the brother, older brother, Sri S. Rajam Orgal, he was the Rama and she was Sita. So they
Oh,
always
wow.
spoke about that, how it's actually a very unique situation. There is no brother and sister protagonist anywhere. I don't think, as far as I know. Yeah. So they did it purely for the art form. They all sang. My grandmother sang when she was happy, when she was sad, when she was, in any state of mind, she sang. That's all how she expressed herself. So, and she used to tell me that because of the children who are so talented, all the Sama Sastri, all these people used to be regular visitors in the house. So growing up, I visited Rajamama, as we call him, Sri S. Rajam and Padma Bhushan Veena Vidwan Sri Balachandar. He's my mama tata actually. I grew
Mama
up
Tata.
visiting them all the time. So for me, I don't see them any different. They are my forefather, my uncles, my father's uncles. So any is just normal, like that. So,
Okay, so in the gatherings and our family gatherings, do they throw their ideas on you? "ஏய், இதை பண்ணு, பாடு, acting எல்லாம் போகாத," அந்த மாதிரி எல்லாம்
well,
advices.
actually, போகாதுன்னு சொல்ல மாட்டா. They
Oh,
were
okay.
actually
That's art form. Yeah.
no, they were always encouraging because they themselves were actually the
Acted, of course. Yeah.
beginning of a lot of things. Actually, Veena with Padma Bhushan, Veena with one Balachandar Padilla, he introduced Shri K.G. Yesudas in Bombay.
Oh, wow.
He was my grandmother in those days in 1942. Actually, my father was 3 years old when she acted
Wow.
in a film with Tyagaraja Bhagavathar in a film called Shivakavi. And
Oh,
she was
okay.
All India Radio artist, A grade artist for many years. So
Wow.
so all of these things, artists and artistry ran in the family, and
Family.
I mean, I started dancing with Srimati Hema Malini in her dance school. First, Nati Vihar Kala Kendra, Abhina that was where I started learning Bharatanatyam. Of course, I learned singing from my grandmother at home.
Wow.
Beyond that,
That's
what
an
my
amazing
real learning actually
experience. Yeah.
came, my real actual learning, if I can be proud of anything that I can say, I think is after coming to the US.
US?
Uh,
Oh.
that's where I feel like I learned because all that was given to me. Even the film was also somebody approached me and we said, okay, but something that I did on my own and ventured out and learned. And today I work for the same company that you're on watching live. So,
Oh, so you are working for
so
who?
I am
StreamYard?
so I work for Meta. So for that to get here has not been easy. But I had to
Right,
go
right.
back to the university to college. I went to community college with high school students. I
Wow.
started from Introduction to Microcomputers 101 from the scratch, and I'm here today. With a
Oh,
master's,
beautiful.
working towards a master's degree in information systems. But
Beautiful.
this is where I humbly say this is all where I think I have done something. But
Beautiful.
all of that happened before is all things that came about, and
Wow.
it
Wow.
was not hard to get. Yeah.
Very
So,
inspiring. Very inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing. And my next question is for Deepika. Deepika, I know you are a singer in all trades, like a Hindustani, classical, Carnatic, as well as in film music. So it's all like a different. I mean, even though it's all the same, it's definitely each one carries its own power differently. So between Hindustani and Carnatic music, which one interests you more, number one? And then a lot of people consider the concerts and classical music as a form of entertainment. What is your opinion on that?
Well, I keep getting asked this by a lot of people, more often these days. But I think for me, having learned both streams of classical music, I see it as this one huge umbrella of Indian classical music. It's very interesting to see that there are so many similarities between the two, and I think in the process I've also learned to appreciate each art form, like, even more deeply. I think they overlap a lot for me. It's when I sing or when I perform these two strings, because I also get to perform Hindustani classical music as in a concert format. So when I get to do that, it's like the influence of having learned South Indian classical music is very deep when I perform the Hindustani classical music as well, and vice versa. So for me, it's more of interlapping, or overlapping, interweaving kind of art forms, music, and for me, I see this as just Indian classical music as one whole thing, as one whole unit. So that makes me really, enjoy both forms of music as I learn, as I perform, and also as I listen. So I think that's a huge plus. Secondly, when I get to sing for movies or independent singles or any other genre of music, the foundation that I've had with Indian classical music really helps when I'm asked to make up my own things. A lot of times when I go into recordings, they say like you just need to make up this passage of music by yourself. It's just right at that moment, but it might have to match a sequence on screen. It could be for a lot of these re-recordings that I get to sing these days, especially for all the tele-serials that you watch on channels like Star Vijay. So a lot of those music passages, I'll have to be composing those scores of music on the spot to match the film that's running on screen. So the foundation that we have with Indian classical music really helps me intonate or modulate or come up with passages, or say sometimes I go in for tanams. Sometimes they want me to do something like tarana bowls. So it really helps in creating music for those instances. And
Right.
to answer the second part of your question, I I think concerts as entertainment. I really don't think so, because when you
Deepika,
play,
I think you're freezing. Deepika, you're freezing. Okay, so in the meantime, I think her screen is frozen. In the meantime, I have my next question for Ramya. So when Deepika comes back, we will ask her the next question. Ramya, you teach Indian diaspora as a guru living in the United States.
yeah, I think I was lost.
What are the challenges of teaching in the diaspora?
Um, it's a huge challenge as well as a privilege in a way, because as a teacher, as you know, Rose, teaching in the diaspora, you cannot be just a teacher. You have to be many things. You have to wear many, many hats. So when I came here in 1982 and realized very quickly that I cannot pursue a performing career in the US. Certainly not at that time. Times have changed over the last 4 decades. But we have to be Sabha secretary. We have to, present performances so that the children here, growing up here, get to see dance. There were no performances being organized. There was music, but no dance at all. So we had to we created an organization to bring Indian dance. So you're also a cultural ambassador. You represent India. Everything you do as an artist is looked upon as a representation of your culture, your heritage. So it's really how you put yourself out there, right? And also, the children growing up here have a very, very different mentality. Again, and they come to class once a week, and then they go home and they're in a different universe, And so there are lots of challenges in how to, I think we have to, it's like everything that we do has to be peeled. Layers have to be peeled and they have to be spoon fed. Because
That's
they
very
have
true.
very little that they learn through osmosis or through interaction, that kind of thing. So it is it's huge task, and I think I just completed 40 years last year, so of teaching. So I look back.
You don't even look 40.
That's thank you, but I think it has been. I mean, I look back a lot, reflect, and I cannot believe some of the things we've done and accomplished. But I think as artists, all of us have that what in America we call it chutzpah. We just have that craziness, like you have done, Rose, is to jump into something without any idea of how it's going to turn out, what is going to happen, but we just do it, and that's what we've been doing, and trying to make a little bit of a difference and in the landscape, around us.
Very true, very true. I completely agree with you. And I personally go through that. I know, I mean, when we go to a concert, we have to be a singer, you have to be a organizer, you have to take all your microphones and all the arrangers to set up everything. You tell me about it. And then we have to set up our background, also ourselves. So we have to go 3 hours before to do everything. By the time you're exhausted, when you go and sit in a concert, you don't even feel like singing. So I
and
exactly know.
the other part of it is that one of the things I have been trying to change is they have this notion of Indian dance or music as being very exotic and erotic and all of that. And then they will, at the end of the performance, they'll come and say, "Oh, I loved your costumes. You looked so beautiful." So I have been actually uncostuming with the notion that I don't want you to see my costume. I want to see you to see my art. That's art beyond the costume, and the bling and the glitz takes away from what we have to offer. So part of that journey is to unglamorize the dance a little bit.
True, very true, very true. Wow, that's such a thought that you shared with us. And Deepika, I'm sorry that I didn't mean to cut you off. I think your screen froze towards the very end, like last 20 seconds. So we had to, instead of waiting for you to come back, I just started with Ramya. So I think you pretty much answered everything, but, if you have anything to say about your question, you can go ahead. And
Well, just to continue where we left off. So I think the composers, if you ask me if concert had just the entertainment value to it. So I really don't think so, because when the composers like Muthuswami Dikshit or Tyagaraja Swami, when they sang, they never intended this for a concert platform or for entertainment value. All that they did was, it was an outpouring of what they felt straight from their heart to Ramachandra Murthy or Kamakshi or anyone. And it's extremely intellectual if you look at Dikshit's compositions. So it's definitely meant for a higher purpose, for a more intellectual, spiritual purpose. So initially, probably when people come into concert halls, maybe it's at a very superficial entertainment level, but definitely classical music is much, much beyond that, and it's definitely at a higher realm.
true, yeah. It's same like how Ramya said, she has to unglamorize herself for them to come and talk to her about the dance form instead of the blings in the costume. That's very true. Same as in music, that works the exact same way. And the next question I have is for Radha. This is a very ignorant question that I have for you. Do you teach online classes for the students from outside India? And what is your opinion about teachers actively seeking students from foreign countries, like especially countries like United States, or they don't go behind smaller countries where the currency is very close to Indian rupees. They only go beyond where it's doubled or tripled. And so some of the teachers, are seeking students from foreign countries like US, UK, from London. Oh, I have students from London. I have some students from Singapore and stuff like that. And also the students, seeking teachers from India, so that compared to what they pay here, it'll be a lot cheaper for them. So what is your opinion about, it's almost same as the question I asked for to Deepika, the value of music itself in there is folded into, smaller package for something else instead of the music itself. So since you are a critic, I wanted to ask this question to you so that you will have a better answer for me. We always have this question as teachers, as performers, as classical practitioners, these are all only recent days. People go do different things. Hey, I am studying with a teacher in India. I pay only like $5 for my class, where we cannot survive with $5 here. So it's a simple example, what I'm saying. So what is your opinion about it, and what your thoughts on that?
You asked a very delicate question indeed.
Yes.
But
you are a critic, so you can be so open about it.
It's not about a critic. Everybody in the field knows my forthright views on every subject.
Exactly.
And I call a spade a spade. So I have no problem in answering this question. Whereas many musicians will just shirk it away and just ignore and not answer it.
Yes.
First thing, of course, from the student's perspective, I think this kind of reaching out to Indian gurus has been a very good trend, I would say. In the sense that, say about 15, 20 years back, if you go, they had, so taking your US itself as an example, you will have to be satisfied with whatever the local teacher has to offer you. So the local teacher herself may be a student only, so for learning. But then you had no option but to keep your art alive, you have to resort to that. Of course, the nearest teacher would be an option. But today with the kind of technological development, it is a very, very good development, I would say, in terms of where you are able to reach out to any good guru in India and have them. That's the first thing. So, of course, a larger perspective of what style you want to pursue, and even what if you want to pursue some particular kind of composition, you want to learn Dikshadhar composition, there is somebody you can learn, you want Tyagaraja composition, like this specialization of learning has happened at a very large level. So it's a very great welcome in terms of the growth and development of music itself. But the point about the monetary thing, of course, definitely at the end of the day, every artist has to make his living and you have to accept that.
That's true.
So, but let me be very honest that at least with me, it is not about just having abroad students. I have a lot of students in India also. So my first criterion is online, but offline, of course, they have to come live. Mm-hmm. So my first criterion is what is the kind of passion the student has towards music, first thing. Whether they will pursue it earnestly, whether they will practice. These are my criterions. And I don't run any big school. I had that perfect choice of not going to work anywhere, nor running any institution on a day-to-day basis. Because for me, creativity has to happen every day. Mm-hmm. So I feel that being stuck to one institution from morning to evening, running classes back to back, other things I may not be able to pursue. So I was very clear on that. I will not go into that. But coming to this point about US, apart from the monetary, I personally feel that, I have worked with students from various countries. The students in US are very sincere. That is something I have seen, in terms of, first thing, punctuality, in terms of the class, which we in Indians lack very much. They will say they'll come and then make you wait online for 5-10 minutes. But this has never happened. Even 1 minute delay has never happened to me. So that way, first thing is the sense of time. Then, of course, the earnestness to be updated about the lessons. That is something which I have appreciated with every US student. They have never come back to me for any class without updating on their previous lesson. So this is what is very gratifying to any guru. Of course, we are not able to provide any opportunities to you because of the online factor. That is a big handicap we are facing as Indian teachers. So now you're also seeing that, I'm sure in December, when many of the students come here, it's a latest trend which you must have seen, where the gurus themselves organize a festival and give opportunity to all the students. So because, ultimately, whatever you may say that I pursue the art for the devotional aspect or the enrichment and other things, for a student, the best impetus is to be on stage and perform.
Right.
And that can't be denied, whether it's a small stage or a large stage. So that way, that opportunity quotient is difficult. Of course, the monetary quotient, I definitely agree with you that it is very remunerative now, and that way many Indian gurus have been able to flourish because of this, this monetary quotient. Because in India, of course, we have our own limitations, and the concept of Gurukulam is still prevalent here, where you just go and learn for free. In fact, I know many gurus who still do that, where when you come to their house, you just sit with them, interact with them, and they don't charge anything at all. So that is one extreme contrast. But then everybody wants a good style of living today. So for that, I'm sure this kind of abroad, especially the dollar quotient, does help in that. But last but not the least, just the dollar quotient is not the point to lure anybody.
Of course.
At least for me, if the student is not very sincere, immediately I'll cut off. It doesn't matter how much money they are giving me. I'm very particular. Because for me, that 1 hour, as much as for the student is to be enriched, I feel as a teacher also, I feel that I have shared something and enriched my knowledge. So it is a two-way quotient. That 1 hour has to be spent as something very, very useful and precious. It's not just a mechanical 1 hour I teach and you give me dollars. That's not the kind of attitude with which I have been teaching.
Right.
So that way, all the students who I have been teaching have been clinging on to me, and now, of course, I've taken over as the director of the Tyaga Brahma Gana Sabha's music school, where I do advanced teaching. So that is a different experience of a group. I don't teach in groups online again, because of the fact that I feel that one-to-one brings about more development. You're able to analyze the standard of each person. So that is how it goes. So it is, I think, more than the negative, its positive sides are much more, because in the larger perspective, you're able to see that music is growing very well in the US because of these contacts, and they are able to enrich themselves to the level they want.
Very true, very true. And this question is actually for Ramya, since she is a teacher. And I mean, one thing Radha was saying, that, sometimes the teachers out there are like, okay, I just learned something and I'm sitting next door, I'm not doing anything, I'm just a housewife. So, okay, why don't you send your child so I can teach? But some of them are really well-versed musicians and dancers. They studied, they went beyond and above to do music or dance. So you are one of them. You are one of the greatest teachers living here. So what is your thought about the students seeking teachers from abroad?
I have not had that experience with my students. Some of them went to learn from my guru when my gurus were alive. My guru is Swami Malay Rajaratnam sir, and then Kalanidhi Mami. Mami wouldn't teach juniors, so if they went to India and asked Mami, she will refer them to her students who are my peers. So I would tell them instead of twiddling your thumb, you can go learn in the summer from somebody, but it's not like you're learning from a different, so Mami wouldn't teach young kids and all of that. So I have not had that experience too much with my own students. And I tell them sometimes, I don't think they learn online. Sometimes when they go to India, they will say, oh, I'm going to Bangalore, I'm going to be there for 1 month, can I learn from somebody? Since if they're too young, I feel it's not worth it. In fact, it confuses them, it messes them up, and then that teacher will say something else, and then they'll come back, do something else. So I said, unless I refer you to somebody and I know that teacher in India personally, I would recommend that you don't go learn from some random person, because there is no value to it. If somebody is going to add value to your growth, then certainly, I don't have a problem with that.
Very true. Yeah,
But
it
I've
doesn't
also,
happen.
yeah, go ahead.
No, no, I was going to say it never happens to the prominent teachers. But the thing is, I've been hearing these stories a lot around. So I have, like I have a question within me, like, why is it happening? So, I mean, Radha and you answered really beautifully. And the next question is for Dr. Guruvayur Usha Durai. You are an amazing Nattuvangist. That's the first time I ever heard that word Nattuvangist. I only knew as Nattuvanar. But I read in your profile that Nattuvangist, which is a nice, cute name, and I'm going to use that name, Nattuvangist. So tell us a bit about how you manage the compositions from, like what do you call Indian Nattuvanars or Nattuvangist in the field of Nattuvangam. I think that's one of your specializations. So do you, the Nattuvangams and all, like you use only the ones you studied under your gurus, or every time when you do any dance arangetrams or productions and stuff like that, you take some random rare columns and create some things, some work and stuff like that. So talk a little bit more about Nattuvangam. Educate us on that. You're still on mute, Usha.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, now okay?
Yeah.
So in my age, of course, I was fascinated by my teachers Nattuvangam. I started learning. But then watching lecture demonstrations of Varu Ramya Pillai, Samraj at that time, and Radharatan Pillai Master's lecture demonstrations was so fascinating. It's like it's very different from one another. It's not the same. How they use the modulations and how they actually say around the choreos are so different. It's not the same. So the mindset becomes different when it comes to the jatis. So of course, for familiarity purpose, initially we do only the jatis which we have learned. And then later we compose on our own, and of course we use other people's jatis and all those too. Depends on what is the composition and what is the situation, because I've done a lot of dance dramas. So for dance dramas, how we take the jatis is also different. So in the field of Nattuvangam, it is like when we do for our own school, it is different. When we do for others, it becomes very different, because basically we have to follow like how we follow the notations. So we have to follow our rules only. There is no by method work. So it's way different.
Very nice, very nice. Very happy to hear that. And this question is for Jaishree. So you got married very young age, and maybe in your early 20s, and came here as a young girl. And how did you feel about being active in the glamorous, glittery film industry lifestyle to start as a wife, and to a young husband, and to have children, and to start over everything, like to ignoring all this glittery stuff and starting like a simple life. So how did you manage to do that, and what are the challenges or the plus? It could be both. See, even though, you probably prefer, hey, you know what, I don't like that glittery stuff. I just love being a wife and being a mom, being, an employee. So it could be that, or it can also be the other way around. So what is your experience about it, or your opinion about it, or your feeling about it?
I've been listening to all the fascinating stories and contribution from the other ladies. Very interesting. So when I came to this country in 1987. At the time, there were no computer science was not that big a deal here. There were engineers and doctors, and so if you had to really succeed, you had to really be a university professor. It was some high education with doctors or engineers or something like that. Medicine more than anything else. So actually, it was nowadays what they call as ruthless prioritization. We have to sit down and have a conversation. What is it that you want to do? Because I was very homesick, to be very honest.
Wow.
The only thing at that point I knew was I graduated from the Institute of Hotel Management. So I would love to cook. I can say I'm a pretty good because I'm a trained chef by the Madras Catering College. So I used to cook every day. I still cook every day, and I had my own schedule. But then my husband and I, we sat down and we talked about what, because I used to always art was in my everyday thing. I used to draw, and anything I did, I used to sew everything. So it was not something that would lead to a career immediately. So what were you going to do? Um, when we looked at it at the time, it was just the starting of uh, computer jobs opening, and we said, okay, maybe I can start taking some classes now. So that's why I said I went to that. So it was very determined. We had a plan going forward from now to that. We have a time window. We want to have children, and all during the time, I was taking classes by classes. Every day I had a class. Like every semester I enrolled. So I had a class. I had piled up so many classes that I could transfer and get a degree for computer science. And then by the time I came into when my children, my younger son was 2 years old, I decided to go to work. But I want to give credit to my family. My parents moved from India to support me. They uprooted themselves and they came to the US. And so we each had a task to do. So I would go to work, and my mother actually, she worked in my son's school because she was bored. So she would be one of the yard duties, what they call here, for young children when they go to school, right? So everybody in my family had a task because they wanted me to succeed. So I am sitting here not going to take any credit, not all the credit. I only did what people facilitated for me. And I'm extremely blessed, and I understand that I'm very lucky to be here today. So anyway,
Amazing.
it's not hard. I mean, it's not easy at all. I mean, but you have to put your focus because you are involving other people in their lives in your day to day, and because you know that they are doing this for you to succeed. So that is, and I use that as a example for my children, and if there is an advice that I give or anyone who's starting from scratch, it's not going to be easy. It's like you wrote a story and on a board, and you're erasing it with a chalk, and you're rewriting it again. You have to start from the bottom, but you will finish it. You have to be determined and focused, and you have to know that other people are behind this, that they're putting their, if you have that sense of guilt, I think that you will succeed. I mean, if it works in your favor, go do it. Might as well feel guilty. Go do it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter whether it's music or dance or finishing a task that you started. I think that think of where your situation, and the ruthless prioritization is what they call ruthlessly prioritize what is in it, how everybody is involved in your life and how to do it. So um,
Beautiful.
not only
Very
that,
nice.
I must thank my children too, because every now and then I did a television series when they were growing up called Tiruvalar Tirumadi for Sun TV. Radha and Radhika Shavikumar was the producer.
And
So
even recently you went and did something, right? I saw on your very recently you did.
yeah, I did a one episode as a guest appearance in a popular television series called Edir Neechal. So
Okay.
when I say I'm really blessed, I really mean it, because the director, Mr. Thiruselvam, actually said, whenever you're in Chennai, you are welcome on the set, ma'am. I will write the episode for you. So
Beautiful.
I don't know what I did in my last life, but that is a very big thing for a director to say that, So,
Of course. No, you are a very talented artist.
and I am continuously in touch and engaged. I help back stage when there are performances here. I help people, artists who come here. I have promoted a few of them. So it's something or the other is happening outside of my my work currently. I am a technology professional. I have been in technology for 23 years now.
Wow.
Yeah, so I started at Oracle Corporation. I don't know if I can say the company's name, but I was there for 15 years, and now I'm at Facebook for the last year. So I mean,
I know you are a meta person. I have some questions regarding that. I'll talk to you soon about it.
oh,
I'm developing the. Now that you told me about it, so I have questions for you later on off screen. Okay, so
oh,
this next question is for Deepika. In such fast times as these, I don't know how relevant is Indian classical music, and do you feel it has a significant place, in the future? And also, in film industry is a pure business platform, and classical music is a pure bhakti based. And of course, even though money is involved as a remuneration in classical, it is pure bhakti based. And what is your life balance between these two, especially if somebody is asking you to give a classical concert the same day, same time you have a recording for one of the Oscar winners. Now I got you. How will you manage that? I mean, it probably didn't happen to you, or it probably happened to you. But in case if this happens, what is that you would do? I put you in a very tough situation.
Yes. No, I think Indian classical music or listening to music is most relevant. I feel in times as these because when I hear my parents or grandparents, they say that they've never even heard of this term stress all through their life, but at least until their 40s or 50s, at least. So they have never come across these, terms, or they've never discussed these in their families. But today I see like little students, they're, hardly in their second grade or third grade, and they say, "Illa, ma'am, ரொம்ப stressed ah irukku, ரொம்ப tension ah irukku," like for preparing for nothing, like maybe it's just a cycle test or, some assessment. So I think in times like these, it's most relevant that you need to go to a place to sort of calm yourself or keep yourself at ease. Be at peace, listening to something or doing something. And I think Indian classical music is probably, as far as I know, the best way, the best medium to completely bring yourself into one space and calm yourself, put yourself into ease. I think it's most relevant now, and we see that trend, like a lot of people, a lot of youngsters from different ethnic origins, they keep listening to Indian classical music, and which is like really really a fantastic trend. And I'm sure here it's here to stay for eons, until the sun and the moon and the stars are there. I'm sure it's going to stay. The second part of it is I think I've been very very lucky, like
It didn't happen to you yet.
it hasn't been in that sense as such. But then, like I these days, because of this many years of being in this field and singing for a lot of these composers, and they know my music. A lot of people, they don't know. They've probably not even seen me, especially now during the times of the pandemic, and after that, a lot of people that work with me from other places from the country, like say Pune or Mumbai, they've not even seen me in person, but they've heard my music. So they are like, they send me tracks and they say, Deepika, whenever it's possible for you, just record this and send us back. So whether I have a concert or any other prior commitment, so
Just
that
take
takes.
into it.
So I do. I
Right.
say like I have a performance lined up, and I'm not going to be straining my voice with any sort of like recordings, because recordings we tend to sing in different shrutis. Sometimes it could be like an E and we are singing there on the top octave, or like an F and I'm singing on the lower octave. Whereas my kacheri shruti is going to be A.
Yeah.
So I take that as priority, and then I request them, say, like give me like 2-3 days, and I'm going to finish off my performance, come back and record and send it to you. So that kind of a luxury, I should say, a blessing, that people trust my work, trust my music, and they let me do my things at my own pace. But of course, when I have to go into the studios and record, that's still there. But people are, I think, they've been very understanding, and I've been lucky that.
Yeah, I mean that's for this period of time. It's very relevant what the question I asked, because when I used to live in India, I came here 35 years ago. At that time, the only option or only choice is you have to go into the studio and sing. You cannot just record and send. So now the trend has changed. You can take your own time. And then at that time, all the musicians will get together in a studio, and the drum will be in one glass room, and everybody will be at the same time record the same thing. Even one person instead of sa, he goes to a little bit ni. That's it. You all have to start over from the beginning till the end. So that was I'm talking about 35 years ago, and I came here that many years ago, and now the technology is completely changed. Of course, you can take, so it's probably very, very irrelevant question for this period of time, but still some of the times, the oldies mind work differently. Like, how would she handle it if an Oscar Nayagan is calling you at the same time you have a Carnatic kacheri? Who will you give the priority to? That will never happen, because they are also understanding that, hey, she has a concert, so I can call her instead of today, we'll go tomorrow.
In fact, that you're more distracted when you say that you have a concert. So people look up to you and they're like, they're in awe of you that you're actually singing a concert for a 2-hour length, because that
Exactly.
seems like a rarity for a lot of people.
True,
So,
very
you're
true.
respected in that sense.
Exactly, very true. And the next question I have is for Ramya. How do you envision your role as an Indian arts practitioner, in the diaspora?
I think I mentioned that before. I always, I didn't mean to teach. I didn't come here to teach or anything. It just happened that we moved. And as I said before, I realized very quickly that performance was not going to be the major career. And unlike Jaishree, I did not choose to go into any other profession, which maybe I should have. I just decided I'm going to do something with dance, come what may. I was clueless, naive, and I think when I came here, there were no teachers here, and so I had students waiting for me. They knew I was coming to California, to Irvine. Actually, I came from Chennai to Irvine, so they knew I was coming, and so there were these students waiting for me, and I had no experience teaching. I had no intention, no love for teaching or anything. But I figured that's the only way I could stay connected to dance. Otherwise, I would have to go work in the corporate world, and that's not a choice I wanted. So I chose to start teaching, and soon realized that as a teacher here, as I mentioned before, you have to wear many, many hats. You have to be a producer, presenter, administrator, manager, makeup artist, lighting, sound, driver, and chauffeur, if you want to call it that, and audience builder. There is no audience. When people come and say, "Oh, can you arrange my performance?" I said, I have to create an audience every time I perform. Nobody's going to look at my flyer or look at anybody's flyer and say, "Oh, I'm going to buy a ticket and come." It doesn't happen. We can't present free performances. Everything costs too much money here. So you become many, many things, and then also, as I said before, you represent India. So people look at you and think, oh, so you want to present a good picture of India and its culture. Represent India in a way that makes everyone proud. So so you just end up wearing,
hats after hats.
Yeah, so I've really tried to do many things as much as I can. Ultimately, whoever we are, wherever we are, I think the point is to make some contribution to the community, to the to the society in which you live, right?
Yeah,
to enrich it
very true.
in however you can.
I completely agree with you, because what happens is, especially people who came like 30 years ago, 40 years ago, like such as you and me, at that time there was no activities, there was nothing, no teachers to teach, and people wanting to learn didn't know where to go and what to do. So the only option, I came here as a performer. I was actively performing when I came here. And then the option given to us was not, if you say that, oh, I'm not going to perform, you are not going to do anything with music at all or dance at all. So, but the thing is, place and think what the seed, what we put, why that many students, that many learners and practitioners, especially in the next generation, or or the teens, or in their 20s or 30s, those generation is completely into music now. They purely love music for the purpose of music, nothing else, thinking that it's Indian classical art. And if we haven't put that seed, that probably wouldn't have happened at all, especially for the people who lived in the United States or any other foreign countries. So, which is a good thing, even though we did not see ourselves as some major, even though that we have the similar talents and similar abilities as one of those Sangeeta Kalanidhis and or dance virtuosos, but we didn't have the opportunity to give that kind of stuff because we were only here to I'm not saying you and me, most of the teachers who are with the great abilities created this kind of பெரிய ஆலமரம்னு சொல்லுவோம் இல்லையா, அதனால now the music is so many musicians. I mean, it's amazing to see, especially with the technology developed. I'm seeing like almost in every single household there is a classical art form, which is amazing to see. And the next question I have for Radha. In recent days, in the Didir Idli and Instant Dosa Madri, 3 months like Carnatic music performer aidla. Like you can become a performer studying 3 months of Carnatic music, 6 months of course, and you can sing a concert. Like I see a lot of, I mean, I know when questions come to you, I'm throwing some toughest roughest questions. So, and the Didir Dosa Madri 6 months course I'm offering, and you can become a performer within 6 months. I mean, all my life, I'm in my almost late 50s. I'm still thinking that I'm a student, I'm a practitioner, still I'm still learning. And every new kirtan I hear, oh my God, I want to learn. What is that new ragam I never heard in my life? I mean, you always have that urge to go and, get it for yourself, whether you have any teacher or not. At least, by the technology we have, it's on YouTube. So you grab it and then learn it. But in the Didir Idli, Didir Instant Dosa, Madri, Didir quick crash courses for 3 months, crash courses for 6 months, instant musicianship, perform in 4 months course, and it's becoming very popular. I mean, I know you are all aware of what I'm talking about, all of us. So you can all actually answer me. So what is your opinion about that? And you all can answer me on that because we are all in the same page on that. So what is your opinion about that? Is it really possible, or the community developed in knowledge of music that much to become somebody from zero in 6 months?
Very interesting question.
I told you I'm throwing some random questions which I have lots of doubts about to you.
Of course, it's a very, very scary situation, I would say, where people are putting others into an illusion that you can perform in 3 months or 6 months. Let me very assertively say that Carnatic music requires years and years of sadhana to become a proper seasoned performer. That's the first thing. So here, I mean, the whole thing now is becoming like a big business. That's the whole problem, where, and the poor innocent people who are there around, they get lured by it and think, aha, in 6 months, if I'm going to sit, as if they're going to sit in the music academy stage and sing, all kind of imaginations run right in their mind. So that's how the whole thing starts. But let me be very, very clear that, as you rightly said, even today, in all humility, we feel that we are just students of music because the system is so great. In fact, you would have seen me put in all my things, I put that saying that no artist is ever greater than the art he pursues. Mm-hmm. So this is my tag always I use. So we are always a student of music forever. Right. It's not about a philosophical sense or anything, a very practical sense. The problem here is not the child who's learning music, but it's the parent who puts so much pressure on us that within 3 months, can you bring out my child to perform? Within 1 year, you can make the child to perform.
சாலையே
These are
நிக்க முடியாதுமா, முதல்ல சாப்பாசாமே பாட முடியாது 3 மாசத்துல.
அதுதான் ப்ராப்ளம். ஏன்னா and once you know the depth and range and the beauty of the music, I'm sure they will not ask such questions. And it is here that I would like to make a very pertinent point about my own project which I'm doing about music appreciation program. That is where we are trying to educate the non-students about the richness of music, because any system for that matter, even when you cook a meal, when somebody knows how much of hard labor goes into it, I'm sure they'll be more appreciative of what you're doing. So it's the same thing here also, where when they understand the value of the system, they'll not be asking such questions to you and leave the child at peace and ease with the guru. So this music appreciation program, this CM 365, all these are actually very small baby steps on my side. Yeah. Where I try to, because I've addressed a lot of parents through this program, where I teach them about the entire system of music, so they understand that it is such a vast system and you cannot comprehend it just by coming to class for 3 months. This system is very beautiful, and it evolves over the years, where first you are learning, then you are listening, assimilating, then after that all the experience of all this goes into you, and what comes out as an outpour is over the years you yourself can see that what you performed at 10, the same composition at 50, how much of difference you are able to bring to whole thing. True. And another thing is, of course, the Manodharma aspect, which all of you must be facing the same thing. Manodharma. When are you going to teach Manodharma?
Oh, tell me about it.
I can't teach Manodharma. Manodharma means...
It has to happen. It has to happen by itself.
And I have seen, in fact, when few students who come to me, they say that my teacher writes down the Manodharma.
Oh, whoa.
It's become very common. I'm not sharing any new piece of news here, where Swarams, all the Kalpana Swarams are written, and then the Raga Lapana is recorded, and they have to sing it the same way. So where is Kalpita?
Sometimes in the core way, when we do, we wanted to create something, so we write down the Thalam aspect of it, and then Swaraparthuvam. That is normal.
That is understandable. Yeah. That is understandable. But right
the whole Manodharma itself is written
from Naraval to Swaram, everything you are preparing for the child. Probably, see, at the first level, when the child is performing for 15 minutes or half an hour, this kind of guidance is necessary. But the parent and the child have to understand that this is only a take-off point. After that, there is so much more to it. And this is where we find it very difficult also, as you said, because, of course, after 3 months or 6 months, they will themselves know where they have reached. That is there. But the biggest problem today is the media, where, you see, even a child who sings one song or a performance of 2 hours, everything, you use the same vocabulary of awesome, beautiful, excellent, incredible, everything for everything. So the discrimination is becoming very difficult. It's a very serious problem, actually, where a child, performing, in fact, on a last note, a great stalwart, if you see in a YouTube, hardly 100, 200 hits are there, views. But some child who is singing something, in a very...
In 1 million view.
It becomes viral. So the child thinks that he is a greater musician than the other
teacher or stalwarts. Yeah, very true.
Sometimes, as you say, even than the teacher. That is the point. So these are all very difficult things posed by the media. But of course, finally, it is only your own self-evaluation that will get you anywhere. True. So every day, Rose, that as teachers or as students, we evaluate ourselves, know that today, suppose we are at level 50. Tomorrow we go to 51. That is how we work. It is not trying
on a bad day, I go to 49 too. 50.
That's where I think we are all been traveling so beautifully in this journey. You are talking about 40 years. I'm hearing Ramya talking about another. I mean, all those who don't even look 40 are talking about 40 years here. All the women here, including Jaishree and others. Right. But the point here is that the journey that we are undertaking, we are able to understand that the beauty of the journey, and that's how we are traveling. I think if we are able to share that with all the parents of these children, then it makes but it's a lot of effort. Definitely it's there. But again, I'm really very, very alarmed at this present trend of 3 months course. At least 3 months.
I'm a kind of person, I don't even buy this திடீர் பருப்பொடி. நான் உட்கார்ந்து ஒண்ணொண்ணு தனித்தனியா எடுத்து போட்டு வறுத்து அரைச்சி அதுக்கப்புறம் தான் சாம்பார் பண்ணுவேன்.
I just wanted to...
Correct. I wanted to address what Ramya said. I wanted to say that, Ramya, you sparked memory in me. When you said that you're Trust me, I was so clueless. You all had some formal, at that point, some training, something to latch on to, right? You knew. I couldn't go into Hollywood. I mean, what could I do, right? I mean, because it seemed a very daunting thing and totally impractical. And India was anything Indian now sells, right? So you can come to the US and you're Indian, you're exotic, you're in the forefront of all of this that's happening in the diaspora. Back in the day, 35 years ago, like I thought that I could go and model here or continue a career that I had in India was completely impossible. Or it could have been possible, but I think it would have been a harder mountain to climb because of the different processes and approaches. It was more of an industry here. I think you have to have an agent, and if there is a company that manages your profile, and there is a publicist. None of that existed there at the time in cinema. Right now it is, but back then no. So yeah,
That is true even today.
true.
Even true today, as a dance company, it doesn't matter how good you are. If you don't have an agent, you will not get a performance in a main theater, in a main space.
Right.
Because credentials, they don't know enough about Indian dance to know whether you're worth it or not. They don't know enough. But I wanted to just say something. Thanks, Jaishree. And by the way, my father was your uncle Veena Balachandra's classmate. So I met him many, many times.
What's your father's name?
P.S. Nagarajan.
Okay, I will tell Shanta Mama.
Yes. And Shanta Mami's sister was my teacher in college, Girja Mami.
Wow.
Oh, Gunjan, you're so close.
How amazing.
She was my English teacher. But I wanted to say something to what Radha said is, a lot of, one thing that I feel I didn't say was, as teachers in the diaspora, we are teaching the parents as much as we're teaching the kids. The parents are clueless, and many of them have had, even if they're born and raised in India, have had no exposure to classical arts. So you're actually educating them as well as you're educating their children. And I've had parents come and ask me, so when will my daughter finish? And I said, I don't know, because I haven't finished and I've only been learning for 50 plus years and I still continue to learn. So I don't know. I don't have an answer for that question. So yeah, I'm sure it happens in India as well,
Very, very true. Yeah. So as we learn being a teacher or being educator or being leader of what we do. See, that's what I started doing is, there is no performance opportunities. We have to create our own opportunities. And most of the time, where is the opportunity we create? Again, it's in a smaller 10 to 15 people, 30 people, 40 people. I mean, I'm talking about a while ago. So again, when you came from a legendary background and sitting and performing for 15, 20 people, you feel like you lose a part of you. Like you don't feel complete. You feel like, what is this we are doing? What we started, at least I started doing myself and Murali, instead of looking for the opportunity for the performance, okay, the students and teaching is our only thing at this point. So keeping them and developing them to the next level. So what we started doing is we went and knocked at every largest, auditoriums, the finest venues in the world, like a Disney, Walt Disney Concert Hall, Carnegie Hall, Sydney Opera House, where the Carnatic music never even was heard. Because they consider that Carnatic music has nothing to do with them. All they see is only like, hundreds of 1,500 people, 100 to 150 people have to be there minimum in an orchestra format. So that is the only music they are, aware of. That's the only music they knew in an orchestra setup. So when we go and say, hey, I'm a performer and I have a veena player, we can bring a mridangam, only 3 to 4 people in our orchestra. So give us opportunity. They say, get lost. So how do we make this happen? How do we bring our Carnatic music in those halls? So is Carnatic music, will not go and face that halls at all. So in this one, we worked for the past 20, 25 years. We worked very hard. We went and knocked at every bigger stage auditoriums, and then we begged them. Okay, so what is that you want? You have to see 100 people minimum or 150 people minimum. Jaishree and Ramya, I think my voice is echoing. If you can mute yourself, I'm hearing myself. So my thought process is blocked. Okay, thank you. Okay, now I can hear myself. So we went and knocked at every door, every auditorium, every biggest auditorium possible. And then, so we asked them, hey, give us one little chance. You want 100 people minimum? We will somehow create it. So like 20 years or 25 years ago, I think, we brought all our students together. We trained them almost 6 months. Whether you are going to like it or not, you're going to do it. So we created an Indian orchestra. So we created a little movie of it and sent to all these bigger auditoriums. And we started our begging again. Okay, we can also do what you are expecting. So give us one chance and we will try to prove ourselves. That's how, what we do right now, we started doing. So now we took Indian music to Carnegie Hall. We took Carnatic music to Sydney Opera House. We took Indian music to any bigger hall, you name it. We took there. Indian music was heard in all those auditoriums. And I felt like, I will always stay as a conductor, because when those auditoriums don't come with the traditional, typical microphone system and everything. So if a conductor doesn't conduct, nobody can hear anything with that many instruments, that many voices. So I always stay as a conductor. That's why Jaishree asked me one question. That's why my blouses are always, attractive in the back than my sari, because I will be showing my back to the audience most of the time conducting. So what I started doing is, okay, you just follow. My hand will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what you learned. If you go instead of 1, you go to 2, you are failed. Next time you will not come into the auditorium again. So these kind of tricks and trades and all, we train the kids differently, because they are not trained to sing in a large 200, 300 people at a time or 100 people at a time. They know only to sing maximum 3 in a class or 4 in a class. So we kind of created that kind of opportunity to them. So this way, they also can say that, hey, I perform. Like a 10-year-old or 12-year-old saying that I perform in Carnegie Hall, it will sound funny to the other people, but they did really in reality. So this is what, taking Carnatic music to the finest venues around the world. So we started going in that route and doing, whatever we can do a little bit. So we have to create an opportunity for ourselves. So we can go the traditional route. Okay, sit on a platform and sing all the time. So you can show your back and conduct and do what you do. So it still happens. So as Ramya nicely said, we try to create our own opportunities and still stay within that art form, what we have learned. All I did was, of course, I wanted to become a doctor, which didn't happen. So I did my BA in music. I did my, I'm talking about medical doctor. I did my BA music, MA music, and then PhD, everything. It has to happen in a different route, so that still I had my DR in front of my name, and I'm proud of it. And then still, with all these achievements, all this learning, all this knowledge, what do? Nothing at all, because we can't perform in a place where we are stuck, because this is the life we chose to live here. So there is no other opportunity. So we created a different route. The same, I know that Ramya always goes to taking her students to different countries and performing. And of course, I know probably Usha, ma'am, you do the same thing too. So, you both have a perfect opportunity. You are in India, so, it's lovely that, you got that right platform for what you are doing. That's really amazing. But people like us, who especially we are already in our mid age, and performers who cannot do anything other than this, so we go to a different route and doing these kind of little things. So still we stay in music and in dance and in the classical art form. And it is really amazing. I have still a lot more questions, but I know, like, especially Radha and all of you, I have something else happening, you mentioned to me, and I really wanted to have many questions asked and answered. And but if you still feel like you can have one more question, we can go. But if you wanted to all share your thoughts with us to the audience, it'll be great as a final thoughts of every single one of you, and I would love to hear you all. I will go with Radha first.
Thank you for this wonderful morning session for us. In fact, it was wonderful meeting all the other women here and knowing about their achievements also. Only one thing, as from what Dr. Rose said, I would like to share that, as I always say, success is not just about becoming some superstar. It is just about choosing your own field for yourself and trying to achieving excellence in that. So we all have our own limitations. Like you said, limitation in terms of the place you are living in for you. For me, it may be something else. For another person, the family may be the limitation in terms of having so many commitments, and we think that they are doing so. We may not think that, I have not become a superstar, or I am not like X or Y or Z, So long as you're able to do what you have chosen for yourself perfectly and beautifully every day. In fact, I would say that even beyond music, putting a beautiful column in the morning by a woman outside her house, in a very artistic manner, that can be success. Or for me and Rose, who does all the parvapudi at home, cooking a nice idli, vada, sambar in the morning and making it very tasty was the family success at that point of time. So there is actually no yardstick for success as such, because everything we do, if you do it beautifully, I think that is what success is all about. And some women, they always think that being housewives, they are not able to achieve anything, they are not being successful.
No,
I think they are a great success in terms of managing their family, and they are the ones who are doing a lot of sacrifice, because here I am being selfish in terms of pursuing my career, I would say. And I expect all the other people in my house to be cooperative and supportive of what I am doing. Whereas a household woman, she sacrifices. In fact, she may have been a great dancer before, she may have been a singer. And I know so many people personally in my life also who have that feeling that, okay, I'm not being able to pursue a profession. But then I feel that in fact, I always, in a very lighter way, I say that it's a lot easier to leave everything at home, like that, unkept and untidy, and leave for an office happily and be there for 8 hours. But when you're at home, you have a lot of responsibility in terms of maintaining a family, nurturing the family, looking into the needs. So that is also success. So but then at the end, what are we doing for ourselves? How are we keeping ourselves alive is through the art that all of us are pursuing, because that may be at level 10 or 20 or 30 or 100, whatever it may be. But that is very, very important for us to be alive and keeping and happy. That is there. Every day monotonously doing some family job, puts you into boredom. So all of us here, I think in our own way, we've been trying to enrich the society. That is a very important commitment for which we are also born. It's not just about cooking and eating. So there, the art that we have actually been bestowed with by God, how far we can put it to use. It may be through teaching, through performance, through being a good Rasika, also you can add to value. So that way, I think the art that you have chosen for today, all of us here, women that who have come together are artists only. So through our art, how much we are able to contribute our might towards enriching the society and making it a better place in terms of making a person a more holistic kind of life, giving them. That I think we are very, very successful. That way, every woman is successful in her own little way. Let us not belittle ourselves and say that I'm only a housewife or something like that. That's what I mean.
Not at all.
Very
Wonderful.
Rose, Dr.
Yes.
Rose, if you don't mind, I'm having trouble with my mute button. So very well said, Dr. Radha, Bhaskar. I really like what you said. But I'm going to speak and finish before my mute button acts up, if you all don't mind.
No problem, sure.
Going to pounce on you. But I just want to say that every bit of information that every one of you shared It's just totally amazing, amazing information. So relevant. How do we even keep relevant these days? That's a question that we ask ourselves, right? So we keep on revisiting what we know. But how do you use the art that you know when you go to another industry? How do you take it? So what I would like to address that, like Dr. Radha said in other areas. So you'll find it funny that people usually don't want to be the presenters. They don't want to go up there in front of everybody. So in the corporate world, people would actually, my teammates would look at me like, "Are you crazy?" Because I would want to do I would volunteer presenting something. I would volunteer being the lead because I would organize things. It's just how, because we didn't have stage fear, or we don't have that as artists. We are used to seeing um, hundreds of people, in front and performing, or whatever the case may be. So we use that same skill set to transplant it somewhere else and say, "Hey, I'm going to be the presenter here," and get that PowerPoint out, or that, the only thing they requested me is don't put too much music and, transitions in there, because it almost looked like a short film when it ended up. But that's what I'm saying. It's you know, art is, it can be repurposed in many walks of life. Trust me, I think my time when I was a chef, I said I'm a trained chef, and I cook
That's
everything.
one thing I wanted to really ask, which I never had an opportunity to
And
ask
my
her. She was
and my address it. I think when I came to this country, I also had a small catering company. I had some rules though. I would cook on my own. The maximum I cooked is for 200 people. For a pandit, he had a graha pravesham. I would do only formal occasions, only South Indian vegetarian wedding type cooking, and I would do everything from the whole menu, appalam-லேந்து வடையிலேந்து பாயசம்லேந்து
oh
சாம்பார்.
wow.
My husband and
Jaishree, I'm inviting you to Southern California. Murli's 60th birthday is going to come very soon. In
so,
September. So I'm going to be inviting you to Southern California soon.
so it is. I'm saying that it is not only when it becomes a they always also say that necessity is the mother of invention, right? So when you have a lot of time to kill, I mean, you use what you know and bring about these, you know, uh, repurposed art into other, areas. So the same way when you're a program manager in technology, how you indent for so much ultambarpu, so much arisi, so much puli, and jalam, and the same thing for people and resources and software and gigabytes and databases, right? So it just comes. I would just encourage people to think how they can repurpose the skills that they have and use it in a more, if they want a practical way. Because there is too many great people like you in the arts. If you're going to compete with this, what we see here, if it's going to be hard here, take
Very
another
true.
field and choose it and repurpose it.
Very
So
true.
thank you very
You know,
much,
one
Dr.
thing
Rose.
one thing I learned today, somehow or other, we are all connected today. I mean, when I invited you, I just only saw your backgrounds and what you have done and what you have, achieved. So I wanted to bring you all together to create this, for the audience to, know what you are all doing. But I came to know after we started, and especially when I was reading through your bios, especially Deepika was my best friend's. It was a teacher of hers, Sudha Raghunathan. And then your first performance was for MLVMA's, event. And then I came to know again, Dr. Radha was my junior. We studied with almost every single teacher, Dr. N. Ramnath and Dr. S. Sita, you name. I'm Sugna Varadachari, ma'am. Even Calcutta Krishnamurti, I don't know whether you know about it. Calcutta Krishnamurti sir came for a short while when I was going to Rishi Valley. He was the one who told us. I was graduating that year. He was just trying out to teach in university. And so we had legendary musicians and musicologists at the time that we studied in 80s. We are all 80s babies. And and I don't know how the university is now, because I hear a lot of different things and stuff like that. But the thing is, I came to know, what I'm saying is, I came to know Radha, we are connected in some way or other. And again, with Jaishree, I only knew her as a beautiful a movie artist and a great mom and a phenomenal, person. I met her only once or twice. I mean, we are of course talking over the phone and this and that and several times, but in person, because she is in the Northern California, so we don't have that kind of, face-to-face interactions. But knowing that, Veena Balachandra sir, S. Rajam sir, and S. Rajam sir's Matapurna is Pramila. Pramila was my friend as well as my, she was a PhD when I was doing my master's. So she was also, a good friend of mine. So, and then one more thing I wanted to also, Guruvayur Usha Durai ma'am, I wanted to show you something. So this is hopefully, this was very recent when I was invited for, most of the time we will never be invited as for any awards, because we are all called foreigners. We live in the different countries. So we are not eligible for any kind of awards which was created for Indian musicians. So luckily, or fortunately, I was invited for one of those awards that they were giving. And when I went there, I met your dad, and it was a phenomenal conversation that we had. And, when I invited you, I didn't even remember about all these things. And when I was going through the pictures to select to put to create your thing, I saw that, oh my God, I found this picture. I have to show it to her. That's why I just put that. And Ramya, of course, we both live, we share lots and lots in common. And of course, Ramya's older son was Murali's student, and he did his Arangetam and everything. A phenomenal musician and a great artist. And Ramya and myself share lots of things in common, as well as we live almost close to each other in the same city. I used to live in Cerritos, and she was only 15 minutes. So we had lots of things in common. So all of us are somehow or other connected. Before I invited, this was never known to me. So isn't this what do you guys think? I'm speechless. I can't even say the next word.
I think the whole world is related. That's what they say, right? 6 degrees of separation. I don't know why it's making a racket.
I think it's maybe. I think in one of the Okay.
Yeah, but I think going off what Jaishree said about recreating, reinventing oneself, and what Dr. Radha said, I think post-pandemic, as we restart our lives, I think, and particularly maybe because of the stage and age in my life, I think I've been thinking a lot about gratitude, and be grateful for where you are and what you have been able to achieve. Or more than achieve, what you have been able to contribute, right? How have you made a difference? How has your life or your actions made a difference in this planet? In a very, maybe sometimes even very, very minute way. But I think, as Dr. Radha said, we have to value each of our lives and value what we have done and what we want to do and what we continue to do every day, and not undervalue or underestimate ourselves,
Yeah, very true.
So I'm honored and humbled to meet all of you, and actually want to learn more about what you're all up to.
And I wish I have a lot of more time to ask all the questions I had. I had at least 3 to 5 questions for each one of you. I think we went through only 1 or 2. And definitely we will have an opportunity to meet again, or in person sometimes when I come to India or when you come here. And I wanted to specifically say Radha is coming to the United States to receive her award from the Cleveland Aradhana. So make sure to watch for that. And Deepika recently has done a phenomenal. You know what? what, Deepika, I am in my 50s, and only last year when I went to India, I went for all temple navigations, and then I came to a thought process in my mind saying that I have to learn Nalayara Divya Prabandham. And then she just randomly she posted, oh, I've been working on some of these, and she sent. I was like, what is this? Yeah, I mean, sometimes you think of something and it is happening, somebody else is doing, it gives you goosebumps, and yeah, and then please go and visit her Facebook and YouTube. She did a phenomenal job on presenting that, and please do that. And the same with Guruvayur Usha Durai. She's doing an amazing job as a dance teacher. Okay, I have to say the word correctly. Nattuvangist. I only know the Nattuvanar word, Nattuvangist, and then she's doing a great job being in a different country, even though the country is very close to India. I mean, we are far away, but I would say being away from your own family, your own country, your own birthplace, every single time it makes you feel like you lost a portion of you, somewhere else. Even now in my heart, I was like, okay, I will tell Murali, is there any chance at all should we go back to India? We always have that in our hearts. It'll always stay with you. So in spite of all that, having a legendary dad and leaving everything and staying in a different country and doing this great contribution to the art form, and it's amazing. And with the phenomenal, contributions of all five of you, I would say thank you so much. You had taken your time off in your busiest schedule possible with everything you do and sit with us. And one more thing I wanted to say is, a lot of people asked so many questions on the chat line. I'm just observing it, and I usually what I do is I've been actively chatting with them all, taking the questions and then putting it to our artist, which I did not do because I was involved with you all, hearing you guys out, and I was really enjoying the session. I didn't do that. So please make sure to go and see the chat line, and whoever's question is appropriately given to whoever, please answer them all, so that at least they will be happy that their questions are asked, because they sat with us through asking those questions. So it'll be lovely for them to hear from you, and it'll be a great opportunity. Again, I spoke about everybody. Jaishree is a phenomenal actress and a mom, and thank you so much with your busy schedule. She came from work and she dressed herself up, and her fashion statement always amazes me. If she still looks like a teenager, her appropriate dressing, her necklaces, I don't know where you find time. That was one of my questions which I couldn't ask you. Her sari collection, I mean, I am a big fan of saris and jewelry and this and that myself, but seeing you, it throws me off, where does she have time to go and collect all this to match with everything? Her purse, her earring, her necklaces, her dress, her blouse, everything is a fashion statement. And it is amazing, even at this age, you're doing a great job in what you're doing to keep yourself young and pretty.
Rose, how do we access the chat?
How do you access? Okay, so once we are done, I will share this video link on your with you. So you will have all the chat, whoever asked whatever questions will be there. So that is one way. When we are online, so it's kind of tricky to access it. So after our live, we can do that. So I was going to actually ask those questions and you answer so they can hear, but I didn't do it today. So I was very much involved with you all. So sorry about that. And of course, my dear audience, sorry about that. It was my mistake, but you will be all answered by every single one of our guest artists. They will all answer every question of what you had asked. So is there anything at all you wanted to sing, maybe a line or two, or perform for the audience to hear? Maybe Deepika can do one and Radha can do one, and if you are okay. And so we
Sorry,
can
I
end the
believe I have an online meeting, another meeting.
I know you told me about it. How about Deepika? Just maybe a line of it, so that at least we are all connected in art. So at least some art to give.
Okay, I'm going to sing a few lines from the song that I sang for Bhaskar.
Okay.
just so that a lot of people might resonate with it.
Okay. So if we can all log off, I mean, not log off, mute ourselves. Okay, awesome.
இருள் கொண்ட வானில் இவள் தேவ ஒளி, இவள் மடிக்கோட்டில் முளைக்கும் பாகுபலி, கடையும் இந்த பார்க்கடலில் நஞ்சால் அமுதால் மொழி, கடையும் இந்த பார்க்கடலில் நஞ்சால் அமுதால் மொழி, இருள் கொண்ட வானில் இவள் தேவ ஒளி, இவள் மடிக்கோட்டில் முளைக்கும் பாகுபலி.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. How beautiful. I just wanted to give my last thoughts with all of you. And International Women's History Month was really amazingly celebrated with all 5 of you. This was my privilege and honor to have you all discuss with our audience and with the world and our next generation to share your experiences and expertise. And, as I said in my introductory speech, ஏட்டையும் பெண்கள் தொடுவது தீமை என்றெண்ணி இருந்தவர் மாய்ந்து விட்டார், வீட்டுக்குள்ளே பெண்ணை பூட்டி வைப்போம் என்ற விந்தை மனிதர் தலை குனிந்தார், பட்டங்கள் ஆழ்வதும் சட்டங்கள் செய்வதும் பாரினில் பெண்கள் நடத்த வந்தோம், எட்டும் அறிவினில் ஆணுக்கிங்கே பெண் இளைப்பில்லை காணென்று கும்மியடி என்று சொன்ன பாரதியாரோட வார்த்தையை I wanted to remind again one more time remember with all of us. And you are all succeeded and you are all proved to those words what he had imagined in the 40s and 50s. Imagine a gender equal world, a world free of bias, stereotype and discrimination, a world that's diverse, equitable and inclusive, a world where difference is valued and celebrated. Together we can forge women's equality. We are not less or more to men. We are equal to them. We can do what they do also, and they can do what we all do. And especially in this time and in this period of time where everybody is equal, it's so wonderful to have you all, like with the family support, with the husband's support, with the children's support, with the boys' support. How we created ourselves to be who we are today is amazing. And thank you again so much. Collectively, we can all embrace this gender equality, celebrate women's achievement, raise awareness about discrimination, take action to drive gender parity. So we are the ones who create this world, and we are the ones who keep them also alive in whatever they do, and feel proud of what you're doing and keep doing what you keep doing so that the world will always see you better than who you are today. I wanted to wish you all the very best, to raise high to the highest you can still go. I know most of us are all in our 50s, except Deepika is a baby. And so we all worked very hard to do what we had to do to come to this place, and we still have to do more and more to raise ourselves above and beyond to achieve in this world. Thank you again so much for joining me in this episode, and love you all. See you all soon.